Hello everyone. I don't really have the best way to start this vlog video, but for starters, I ultimately decided that I wanted to go with a faceless vlog format. Hence the reason you have my wonderful little Kageyuki sitting in front of the camera just to provide a little bit of visual interest while I blabber away at the camera. So for starters, my name is Skylar Dream, and I am a self-taught digital artist and crocheter. I also happen to own a small business under the name Skylar Dream, where I sell prints, keychains, stickers, or any merch that I can make out of my artwork alongside amigurumi. And part of the reason for this vlog was to fulfill a childhood dream of mine and pretty much run a vlog channel documenting my artistic process. I have actually vlogged in the past when it came to cosplay, but for now I decided that I want to do more faceless vlogging and pretty much document my process as an artist, a crocheter, and show a little bit behind the scenes of what it takes to run a small business part-time, because I do still work full-time. I do have a 9-to-5. And part of the reason that I decided to go with this faceless format was for safety and privacy concerns. Part of the reason why I have these safety concerns, I do talk a bit about it in my previous video, but it's primarily because of the type of content that I create as an artist. So for those of you seeing a cute little teddy bear dancing around on the screen, well, that does not make me a child-friendly channel, quite frankly. I am anything but child-friendly, so do not mistake the fact that I'm using my plush toys as fill-ins for child-friendly. I am an artist that just as much as I create SFW cute fluffy artwork, I am also an artist that likes to explore dark taboo themes in fiction. I both enjoy consuming this type of content as well as creating this type of content. So I can guarantee you that I do have certain things planned that do delve into the darker side of fiction and could potentially be triggering to audiences. My work is not for everyone, and I just want to make that clear from the start because I don't ever want my work to blindside anyone. So if my work isn't your cup of tea, then that is fine. What's important is that, especially on the internet, is that you're taking care of yourself first. So if my work isn't to your taste, then please feel free to walk away from it at any time. I am an adult creator, and my work does tend to lean towards the adult side at times. So again, just because you see this cute little bear sitting in front of you, my work may not be for all audiences, and I would prefer my audience to be the mature adult audience that knows how to interact with fiction and knows when to step away from potentially triggering content. So I do want to put that out there for starters so that when people stumble upon the vlog, they know what they're getting into with me behind the wheel. Again, just for a recap, because I cannot emphasize this enough, I am not a child-friendly channel. While I do create fluffy SFW artwork, I also do create NSFW 18+ mature content, and I do explore dark taboo tropes. So please keep that in mind as you step into my art in the future. Again, I do have my SFW body of work just as much as I have my NSFW body of work. So please keep that in mind. A little bit more about myself is I am working on my first BL manga, and I can guarantee you that BL manga is going to have some dark triggering content in it as well. Because again, I cannot emphasize enough that while I do have my SFW and cute work, I also delve into dark themes and more adult themes. So please keep that in mind. And that is also part of the reason why I'm choosing to go with a faceless format, where I may occasionally pop on the screen wearing a face mask, or eventually what I would really love to do, because I just think it would be a lot of fun, is actually throwing a VTuber model up in here. And yeah, I have a lot of ideas. I'm a person who collects hobbies like a dog lover collects strays off the streets, so I expect a lot of my other hobbies to also leak into here as well as we film, because as much as I'll be filming my art process, my crochet process, and the behind the scenes of my small business, You may also see some things leak in from my personal life along the side of hobbies or maybe even daily happenings I feel like sharing. So yeah. So that's who I am. And I hope you enjoy your stay on the channel and you enjoy this first vlog. So if you decide to stick around for the ride, welcome to the channel and I hope you enjoy your stay. So on to the vlog. And this is where my crochet comes in. Gonna set Kageyuki a little back there. So inspired by Kageyuki, we are going to be making a two-headed amigurumi, and what my plans are for this amigurumi is to pretty much have them in different color combinations and also make them available in different animals. So right now, the first animals that I can think of making are a bear, rabbit, and a cat. So the first go around, I don't know which animal yet, but this is pretty much where we're at. We have already joined both heads to each other. Now it's just a matter of crocheting the body and figuring out how the color changes are going to work between the two heads. I do write my own patterns. I pretty much crochet these and write down the pattern as I go based off of what I do. And I do actually have a third head that, no, it's not going to get attached to these two, but I accidentally forgot to document true rows when I was writing down my pattern. So this purple head ended up significantly smaller compared to the first pink head that I had crocheted. So I had to make another one. So I will be making two different versions. One is going to be a little bit larger than this one. This is actually going to fall on the smaller side, I think, in comparison, because I missed two rows. This one is going to be a little bit smaller than the size that I actually want for this. And this is actually going to be one of my bigger pieces. One of the other things that I did want to bring up that I did mention during the previous vlogs that I filmed, I'm probably going to be doing not a market, but an anime convention in May with a friend of mine who asked me if I wanted to split a table with her. So right now my brain is in a mode where I'm prioritizing designs that I can get printed out. Unfortunately, because I don't know the restrictions quite yet, I don't think the Lads Pole Dancing AU is going to make it to this convention. However, I do have the Lads Myth Chibis, and the only two missing at this point in time are both Caleb and Xavier, so I'm batching their process and hoping to get those two done in time to get prints, stickers, and acrylic charms manufactured before the convention. I also have a few other sticker designs that I want to finish up and get printed prior, and I'll be showing these off little by little as I work on them. And for right now, this is going to wrap up today's portion of the vlog. So I hope that you guys don't mind me doing faceless content and that you guys get cute little plushies or face mask me every so often. And I'm just gonna do my best with this whole entire process, but the primary point of this vlog, again, is to just hold myself accountable as a business owner and make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to. And yeah, whenever I don't feel like hopping in front of the camera, you may see Kageyuki pop up in here, and you might even see some of their other friends join in on the party as well. So whatever mess that was, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm a mess of a human being, and that's the reason we're using plush toys to stand in until we build up the courage to actually use our face. But yeah, you guys are going to get plushies, face masks, and maybe eventually a VTuber model. A VTuber model is actually on the list. So I do want to give VTubing a try at some point. So you may eventually see a VTuber model on these vlogs. But yeah, maybe eventually I'll work up the courage to actually show my face on camera. Until then, you guys are just going to get my little buddies helping me out here and standing in to at least give you something fun to look at, I guess. But yeah, welcome to the vlog and welcome to the channel.
Okay, so again, Kageyuki on screen just to give you guys something to look at, but right now I'm kind of just struggling because I was kneeling next to my bed, and I'm struggling because I did leg day yesterday and my thighs still be sore from the squats. God, that's always the day after leg day.
I thought I'd give a little bit of an update to the several ongoing lads drawings I have at the moment. So for starters, we have Caleb X02 Chibi. There are quite a few things on this one that I do want to phone, not my hand. Thank you. And there are quite a few things that I do want to touch up on him. Mainly, his body feels like the proportions are just a little bit off. He's definitely a little too buff. I actually need to kind of make him a little bit more skinnier and a little bit more like a twig, because the purpose for this, the way I like to do my chibis, big head, smaller, thinner bodies. So that's my preference when it comes to chibis. His head is also a little bit off, but right now this is a blue sketch, and whenever I work on blue sketches, this is the part of the phase where I allow myself to be as messy as possible and slowly refine from there. So yeah, this is what Caleb X02 looks like. And for anyone watching, you will see the lads pole dancing AU drawings as well. So some potentially more spicier, not explicit drawings coming up. And then we have Xavier. Xavier is also to his blue sketch, but I'm still getting his base down. So what I'm doing with Caleb and Xavier, because they are the last two in the series, is that I am pretty much getting them done together at the same time. So Caleb is at his blue sketch phase where I have a little bit more detail on him, and I'm trying to catch Xavier up to the same place so that I can work on them together, get them to their red sketch at the same time, and then get them lined at the same time, colored at the same time, and then rendered roughly around the same time. But yeah, Xavier, kind of a very similar story to Caleb right now, that his proportions are still a little bit off. I do need to make them a little bit more slimmer and a little more shorter, because right now he is a little too tall for the proportions I prefer for my chibis. So yeah, that is one thing that will need to change. But again, the blue sketches are where I allow myself to be messy, and this is pretty much where kind of like that troubleshooting kicks in, and I can start seeing the parts of the drawings that need to be adjusted before we move into doing the red sketch and the line art. So I'm the kind of artist that I prefer having a solid foundation before I even approach the line art, because I don't like cleaning my line art. So the blue sketch and the red sketch is pretty much where I allow myself to be on the messier side and slowly build up details. And then finally, for active whips that are supposed to be priority for the meantime, I'm doing a very similar thing with all of my lads pole dancing I use, where I'm trying to get all of their sketches done before I move on to lining all of them at the same time. So this is supposed to be Zane, and at the moment, Zane is not Zaning very much. I don't think he looks like Zane yet. But again, we're moving into the red sketch where I begin to add a little bit more detail. The blue sketch is usually where, can my phone focus? The blue sketch is usually where I try to get a better idea of what the base looks like and slowly get the proportions in. So right now, he's the last boy that I need to get to the sketch, and admittedly, I am a little bit behind on him, mainly because I told myself I would have his red sketch done by yesterday, which would be Wednesday, or actually no. I told myself that I would have him done by Tuesday. It is now Thursday. I still haven't gotten his red sketch done because the goal was to start working on the line art for all of them this week, but that may get pushed back to next week. And I honestly feel a little bit behind because one of the deadlines that I did set for myself was to have them all lined by the end of January. And if you look at my clock, it is currently January 22nd. So way beyond the halfway point. We are actually really close to the end of the month. But right now for this week, this is what I'm supposed to be working on. And I'm actually going to go ahead and work on Zane a little bit more this evening.
I'm getting into the habit of trying to set aside the last hour before bed for reading, so this is the current bedtime read. And, yeah, I haven't really been good for the past couple of weeks, months, and I'm mainly hopping back to this because I was borrowing Sword Catcher from Libby, and I haven't had all that much time to read, or rather, I've been pretty bad at keeping up with the reading habit. So that got returned to the library because I'm supposed to be reading that, but while I wait to get that book borrowed again, we're hopping back to Once Your Mind. Hey guys, so it's currently Friday evening, and filming pretty late at night, close to bedtime. So, well, technically bedtime. It's Friday, so I usually sleep a little later. But, so finally rolled out of bed after coming home from an anime Zumba thing my friend invited me to. So, did that this evening, which honestly went a lot better than I thought it would, given that I pretty much was waddling all over the place at work today because I'm still paying for leg day, from like Wednesday. So yeah, my thighs were incredibly sore, yet I somehow survived Zumba, and it was pretty cool because the anime Zumba night had a good mix of like newer anime and a lot of really nostalgic songs for me. Ranai's Circulation started playing towards the end, and it just made me so happy because when I was in high school, I actually learned the steps to that dance, and my motor memory just kept wanting to kick in because it was so nostalgic. A few other, like the Lucky Star opening also played Sailor Fuku, as well as a couple of the Naruto openings and Soul Eater's openings. So it was a really fun night. And pretty much after that, I got home. My thighs surprisingly felt a lot better after doing that workout, and they're not as sore as they were the entire day. And yeah, came home a little bit tired, so I rolled into bed, caught up on a couple of dailies for the games I play, and then scrolled through TikTok, even though it's supposed to be a work night and I gotta push business tasks forward. So one of the things that I'm trying to do is at least 30 minutes a night for any task that helps move the business forward. So I decided I didn't really want to hop on my computer today, so no drawing today. But we are going to be working some more on the two-headed teddy bear. So, well, bear, bunny, cat, we'll see what this turns into. But we're going to be working on this, and the challenging piece about this is probably going to be the figuring out how to switch between the two colors once we reach the middle, because they will be the color will be split in half across the body, so we'll figure that out. I don't know if I'll have to cut the yarn. Preferably I would like to avoid cutting the yarn just to keep the threads tangled with each other, but we'll see where I go with that. But tonight's task, at least 30-minute task, is going to be crocheting. So I also talked to my friend because that friend is the one that I'm going to be doing the market with. We were also talking about ideas and things that we could put in each other's booths. So I kind of would do the creepier side of our booth. So she suggested that I do a couple of Nightmare Before Christmas, which do love the Nightmare Before Christmas. Might even consider oh, I'm blanking. I blank on things so easily nowadays. Corpse Bride. So I'll see. She said that she was going to buy the patterns and she'd pass them off to me. But for now, I'm just going to work on the two-headed bear and continue working on the pattern. And I didn't mention this before, but I do write my own patterns. And the way that I write my patterns is that I'll do a draft on a piece of notepad that I'm okay with throwing away at a later date. So when I first write down the patterns, they are incredibly messy before I pass them over to my final book, where I pretty much have a finalized version of the patterns. And yeah, so we're going to be having a quick little crochet night tonight. So on to the crochet. Okay, so this is pretty much where I got for the evening. You can't really see them beginning to spread out quite yet, but we are working into increase rows. What I might start doing is do a couple of more rows of increases and then kind of do one straight single crochet row, then followed by an increase row, then another single crochet row, followed by an increase row, until I get the length that I want, and then I'll probably keep the single crochets consistent before rounding off to the bottom, and then I should get a better idea of how big this bear actually is. I'll also make a decision once I get a little bit more of him done, whether or not it's going to be button eyes or safety eyes. So that is the progress for the evening.
So I kind of messed up a little bit. I pulled out my purple yarn, and I forgot that where I left off yesterday was with the purple yarn. So I just began winding it up because I just wanted it a little bit more neater, but I ended up unraveling some of what I did yesterday. So now I gotta redo that row. And the main reason I noticed is because as I was pulling on it, I realized there was a knot in the yarn. So that was an oopsie on my end. So yeah, let's recoup this row, I guess. Thankfully, I didn't unravel it enough that I undid the crochet marker as well, but yeah, I'm gonna have to redo this row, and I think I wrote down what this was supposed to be, so a little bit of an oopsie, but nothing we can't fix. So that happens. I also realized the video in the background is probably competing with my voice, so I am watching something while I work. So will notice, I think my tension did increase because I do have quite a bit more yarn than what I had yesterday. So what I'm going to do is just tie this off here, and part of the reason why I do this tie off is mainly just for my own peace of mind, so that like I'm a little bit more reassured that it's not gonna fray or untie itself. So that's the main reason that I do it. I know there are the invisible joins, but for things like this, like, I just prefer doing the tie off here by a few knots, and it's one of those things that once you close off the project, like, all the messy insides are going to get hidden away. But for me, like, call it unprofessional all you want, but for me it's just that extra reassurance that things aren't just going to unravel, and you're creating more knots so that things continue to stay knotted within the project. So for me, it's just that little bit of extra reassurance that everything is going to stay in its place. So this is where we're at so far. I don't want to stuff the heads yet because I haven't gotten to the safety eyes yet, but this is what the bear looks like, I think, width-wise. I'm gonna do a couple of, I don't know if I should increase it some more, but maybe not. So far this is what we're looking like. I need to still stuff these, but again, I'm still undecided on the eyes. So, but generally, this is what they look like so far.
This is Ginny and Jake, and I think I chose the wrong season to try making a sourdough starter because they are struggling a little bit, so now I have to put them in front of the sun.
At the end of every week, I set time aside to journal, so this is my 2026 journal, and so I do have a section that's more or less like a little gratitude journal, so one thing I'm grateful for each day that I do my best to keep up with daily. But at the end of every week, I do a kind of reflection of the week, and I'm usually leave that for Sunday, so I'll do journaling, like an actual journaling session on Sunday, just to kind of recap my week and just take a moment to sit with myself. I also kind of do a small prep for the next week, figure out the things that I want to do or the things that I want to make sure I get done in the next week. And this mainly returns to things like creative projects, like my art, my crochet. So yeah, that all goes into this journal. I also will do a tarot pull for the coming week for myself. And so, yeah, I'm going to just sit down and do a little bit of journaling before I hop into working on Zane and getting a little bit more of the crocheting done before I rest. This morning, pretty much, it was eat breakfast, take care of a few chores, and pretty much spent an hour or two scrolling through TikTok and Twitter, just kind of like a little rest period. So now journaling, and then we will get to work on some drawings, and I'll need to edit, get the videos into my video editor so that I can begin editing the vlog. So more or less that's what Sunday gonna look like, and I'm going to try my best to make sure I set aside a good chunk of time at the end of the day to properly rest. Since Sunday is supposed to be a dedicated rest day, but there are some things that I really want to get done before Sunday ends. So gonna set time aside to do that work, and then later in the evening it's just gonna be chill relaxation time. So that is the plan. I was just watching this vlog, and during the vlog it was a not a con vlog, but the artist was going to a market, and during the market one of her friends was doing tarot readings, and it kind of made me think about one thing that I do want to do at some point this year, and I personally want to start a tarot channel. And the funny thing is I actually have this one out right now. It's one of the decks that I use whenever I need to be screamed at, but it just got me thinking, and like it's in my head right now. But sometime this year, it'd be like I was thinking maybe I could start a tarot channel from the perspective of a beginner, because personally I am still a beginner tarot reader, and I'm still learning how to read the cards. I'm still learning the card meanings and how to read them when they're placed together. So that is something I'm still learning how to do, and I thought it would be pretty cool to pretty much start a channel from a beginner's perspective. And I was even thinking of a video series of get to know my decks with me. And I don't have a traditional Rider-Waite kit deck. And I also do use Labyrinthos a lot when it comes to trying to interpret cards, and aside from the guidebooks given to you by the decks, I also try to look through Labyrinthos to see what like the traditional meanings are, because sometimes the guidebooks will sometimes, I don't say alter, but they'll give their description of the cards based off of the art on the cards. So for example, this is the Soul Splash tarot deck, and I got this one from Vermilion collection. So part of the reason why I say that I enjoy using this deck for whenever I feel like I need to be screamed at is because it does come with a little bit more edgier anime-like art. And I tend to be drawn to much more stylistic and edgier art. I do have my softer decks, but this is one of my favorite decks for when I feel the need, like I need to be screamed at, or like I need a little bit more of that straightforward, harsher truth. At least that's the vibe I get from this deck. But back on topic, what I was thinking of doing is, for example, going through each of my decks and doing a Get to Know My Decks with Me series, where I look at the decks alongside, or I look at each of the cards and kind of give my own feeling towards the card based off of the imagery and the description given by their respective
guidebooks and then compare that to the traditional Rider-Waite deck. I also have a couple of oracles that I plan to do the same with alongside, as of this time, one Lenormand deck. So I was thinking it'd be cool to do a tarot channel where I do more general readings to kind of help sharpen my skills as a tarot reader, and then also do a get to know my decks with me, which is going to be more on the educational side, going through the different meanings of each of the cards. So the cards within the decks themselves, and then the traditional meanings based off of the original Rider-Waite. So yeah, I was thinking eventually at some point I do want to start a tarot channel, and I might get that done sooner rather than later, but as of right now I do want to focus on the potential con in May. So right now my main focus is making sure that I work on my art and my crochet. Some things are gonna get kind of put on the back burner, specifically things like working on my BL series while I get ready for May, and the tarot channel might have to wait till after May when things kind of calm down a little bit and I have a little bit more stock. So yeah, that's kind of one of the things that I personally want to do sometime during the year. What do you guys think? Like, would you be interested in a tarot channel that kind of had that format from a beginner perspective and kind of just like follow me along my journey as I learn how to read tarot? So that's one thing I'd like to do during the year.
While I'm waiting for a few of my clips to be converted, I don't want to start drawing yet because I want the video converter to do its thing. So I decided to work with that little spare piece of yarn from yesterday and make a little scrap ghost. And so I'm almost out of the purple thread or purple yarn. And so I'm looking for my bag of scrap yarn, and I ended up finding a bag with some of my in progress rice balls, which these are the ones I'm going to get ready for May. So I have quite a few of these that are just incomplete and just are missing faces, and they're seaweed. I also found my rowlet, and there is the mochi dragon I was working on, and I completely forgot about the mochi dragon. And I will probably try to finish this and get a few of these done, actually, because I remember working on these like years ago. So this is like years old, but I think I'm pretty sure I have the pattern for this, so I can make a couple of mochi dragons as well. And one old practice embroidery project. So this one's just a practice. So yeah, found a whip bag. Hey guys, it is now Sunday evening, and I thought I'd hop on here really quick before I go to bed. Currently getting ready for bed and getting ready for work tomorrow. So I thought I'd do a quick little kind of catch up on today. So didn't really get the quote-unquote rest day that I was hoping to do closer to the end of the evening. I will say, however, while I was waiting for my videos to convert, I was able to make this little scrap yarn ghost. So this is my little scrap ghost. And he's made up of some leftover pieces of yarn from previous projects that otherwise I wouldn't have been able to use to make anything else. So pretty much put all that yarn together into this little ghost. And I was thinking to add him and maybe a few more acrylic scrap projects onto my table for May. So while I was waiting for my videos to convert, managed to get this little guy done. So that was kind of my rest project because I didn't really create a pattern for him or anything. I just kind of freehanded it and went with whatever felt right. So did that while I was waiting for my videos to convert, which on the video side, I did not end up working on the vlog because by the time all of my videos had finished converting to the format I needed them to be in, I had found out that for some reason the converter I use, its default setting is set to zoom in to the video. So when I went in and watched all my videos, I realized, all all of them were just zoomed in incredibly close, and you lost a lot of, certain things that were off to the edges of the screen kind of got cut off. So I had to go back in, fiddle around with the settings and figure out what was going on to get them to convert properly. I'll be honest, I did rush it at the end of the night, so I haven't checked if all of them were converted correctly, but I'm assuming they are, given that I did find the crop function that led to that. But yeah, that led to a bit of a setback for the evening, and so that kind of ended up taking more time than I had wished, and especially since I didn't want the converter running at the same time as my drawing software, so I had to push Zane towards the end of the night, which, on the bright side, Zane's red sketch is finalized, so now I can begin working on the line art for the boys over the next week and hopefully get them done before the month ends. That way, when we head into February, all I have to do is color them in. So still chances of staying on track for the month. So that's the good news. The other thing I realized while reviewing some of my videos was that if I'm filming from this format where I'm seated on my chair and I pretty much have a bit of distance from my phone doesn't really pick up audio quite well. So lesson learned for me is when I film like this, I will need to have my mic attached to my phone. So yeah, that is one lesson learned. And I'll be honest, this week has been a little bit frustrating on the video editing front because it's a lot of like learning and a lot of just kind of learning new software and the things I need to do in order to make that software work efficiently. For one, I learned earlier in the week that just using my phone recordings doesn't cooperate with my video editor, so I had to go out of my way and find a converter and then learn what settings I had to set that converter to get the video files into something that I could use. And now I'm learning about the limitations of my phone's audio, and pretty much a lot of lessons learned in this first week in terms of vlogging and video capture, video editing. I will say this, that eventually I do plan to get a better camera for vlogging just to make my life a little bit easier. Because admittedly converting the videos captured on my phone into the format I need is time consuming, and we can just be more efficient and just cut off that time entirely. So yeah, I do have plans to purchase a camera later down the road. I will say that I do have a DSLR. I have a Canon Rebel T3i that I could potentially use for recording, and I have used in the past to record vlogs. The only thing is that it is one of the more heftier cameras. So for me, it's just a bit tedious trying to find ways to set it up that would be convenient for me. So, pretty much decided to do a little bit of experimenting this week and just record on my phone, which my phone is showing a variety of different limitations from actual storage space to video or audio quality, sometimes video quality and video format, which have all been struggles and a bit of growing pains. There have been many lessons learned this week on that front, and debating if it would just be easier just to deal with my DSLR for a little bit while I wait and buy a smaller, more manageable camera. But yeah, for now, I have learned quite a few lessons this week if I plan to continue recording on my phone. So there is that. There were a lot of things learned. So I'm going to draw my silver lining there. But for now, so far, it's the end of Sunday, and I think this will wrap up the vlog for the week. So thank you everyone for joining and putting up with my decision to go with a faceless vlog and entertaining my choice of on-camera host. So if you choose to stick around, I really appreciate you. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.